I want to know Mike Jungosan, your wife, how you met.
Yeah,
and
we were in the same class.
Yeah, we introduced.
She was the teacher, and I was bringing people to the class. And
yes. Now, moving forward to a recent past, when you guys both started living here. How did that happen, and what were the circumstances?
Very interesting. See, I had gone through a divorce, and I had 6 children at the time. And I'd gone through a divorce, and I was living my life and going forward. Breathing in, breathing out, as the movie says, one foot in front of the other. And
let me interject so that we get a context.
Yeah.
You had not been in contact with her,
No.
or had you already?
No, it'd been 18 years since I had seen
But you
her.
had met her 18 years before.
Right.
Okay, so
But
so
from the time that I left Japan, I got on the train and waved goodbye, to that time I had not had any contact with her at all. And what's interesting, I'll do a little bit about that too. She was living in San Francisco at the time, and my deputy and I went to San Francisco to do a short sabbatical, whatever, with the San Francisco coroner medical examiner there, and she had guests. She was taking care of some JTB people that were staying in the Hilton Hotel there in San Francisco. And my deputy and I were staying in the same hotel at the same time. When she was there with the guests, we didn't run into each other.
You're kidding.
No. The same hotel, same time. She was in and out of there, and I was in and out of there for a week, and we never ran into each other.
Would have you recognized her? If you saw her?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Probably would have. And anyway, so I'm sitting here, myself and my children, my little dog, little big dog, I should say, old dog, and I get a phone call, and the phone call is from a lady that she and I had taught together, and we talked about how are your kids. She had married a guy that was in the U.S. Marine Corps, and they had been at Camp Pendleton for many years, and then they had moved clear across the country to Camp Lejeune. And I had sent a Christmas card out to all of my different people, and it finally had caught up with her in Lejeune. Had gone to Pendleton and sent on from there. So she calls me today and says, "How are your kids? How are mine? And what are you doing?" And during the conversation, she says, "Oh, by the way, I've got Junko's address." And I said, "Wow, that's interesting. What do you know about her? How is she? She got kids? What's she doing?" She says, "Well, I don't know that much, about what she's doing, but let me give you her address. You can write and find out." And so I get her address, and I thought, I'll write her a letter and see what happens. So I wrote her a letter and say, "How you doing? What are you up to?"
What year was this?
Oh, that would have been...
What year was this that you were still writing letters?
Yeah, I can't remember what year that was. 91?
Okay.
Like that, 90, 91. I send my letter off, and about a week later, a letter comes back, talking about, I'm okay, but I don't have any children or anything like that, and I'm going back to Japan to live with my parents. I said, well, that's interesting. And so we sent letters back and forth for, probably a month or two, back and forth. Then we called on the phone a couple of times, "How are you doing?" And that sort of thing. And then, one day, I sent her a letter in Japan, and she sends me a letter back and says, "I want to come and visit." And so I said, "Okay."
At this time, you're already divorced.
Yeah.
You're going through it.
No,
or?
I was already divorced. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd been divorced for 4 or 5 years.
And your kids were living here with you, or
they were back and forth.
Okay.
Back and forth. And so, anyway, so she says, "Yeah, I'm coming." So she jumps on a plane and comes here, and I told the kids, I said, "Hey, when she comes in the house, run and grab her legs and say, 'Mommy, Mommy.'"
Really?
No.
You're kidding. Okay.
But anyway, she comes, and meet her at the airport in Jackson Hole and bring her down and introduce her to the kids and all that sort of thing. And she stayed here for a while and looked the place over and climbed around on the hills and all that sort of thing. Seemed to really like it, and and liked the house and that sort of thing. So she decided to stay for a while, and that was fine too. Then I just had the impression that she needed to stay here for good. And so I said, hey, what have you got against marrying me with all these kids?
Oh, just like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And her friends were all telling her, you're crazy, that guy's got 6 kids. You don't want to go there, it's in Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere, and you'll freeze to death. There are all those rednecks that, that are racial prejudice, blah, 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 blah. And anyway, but she defied all of her friends, and we got married and lived hereafter,
Cool.
We haven't killed each other or anything yet, so we're in good shape.
I'm going to go back to something you just mentioned, because I heard it yesterday, and I want to make sure that we know racial prejudice here in Wyoming.
In Wyoming is non-existent. I mean, I have never seen an incidence of racial prejudice in Wyoming. Never. There was somebody asked the governor a few years ago about, why is that? Why are these people in Wyoming so friendly? He says, you got it wrong. It's not that they're so friendly, they're lonely.
Oh, really?
There aren't that many people.
Okay.
No, the other thing too, in this area in particular, there's no racial prejudice. And the reason for that is there are a lot of young people who did the same thing that I did, and they went as a missionary. They went on a mission. They're called for 2 years.
Oh, let me ask you. This is part of the religion.
Yes.
That it is it a requirement, or is it something that you do to let kids know the world?
Right. It's not required at all. And the thing of it is, where you go is not up to you. If you say, hey, I want to go and be a missionary and help people and teach people this truth that's valuable to me, they'll say, okay, we'll send you somewhere. And then they send you a letter back and say, you're going to Yugoslavia, and you're going to Afton, Wyoming, and you're going to Salt Lake City, and you're going to L.A., because the whole idea is you're not going there because you want to go and explore something. You're going there to help people. You're going there to teach them something that is valuable to you. A lot of young people here who have gone to various countries in the world, et cetera, so the whole thing of racial prejudice has no meaning to them. I mean, because, like I went to Japan, other people went to Korea, some people went to Taiwan, other people went to Europe, It's a rainbow of different cultures that they've had to go and live in that culture. You don't go there and live in the special missionary place. Yeah, you go there and you're immersed in the culture. You eat the food, you live with the people, you learn the language, whatever it may be. And if it's English, that's fine too. But it's a fantastic experience for a young person.
Perhaps for our benefit, those who are ignorant, am I wrong to say that Mormon is how you describe yourselves, right?
Well, Mormon came from people who didn't like the church. They named it after the Book of Mormon, which is one of the volumes of Scripture. The true name is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
These kids that we're talking about, one thing that they acquire in their travels is knowledge,
right,
and exposure to other cultures,
correct,
other skin colors and ways of living and all of that.
It's a fantastic help. Well, see, that's part of religion. We have some very basic explanation of the religion called the 13 Articles of Faith. And the last of Articles of Faith says, we believe all things, we hope all things. If there's anything virtuous, lovely, of good report, or praiseworthy, we seek after these things. So whatever a culture offers that is virtuous, lovely, of good report, or praiseworthy, we're all for it. We're looking for it. We want to incorporate that in our life.
The one thing that I didn't know until we were here for quite a while of your religion. We sensed there was something like that going on, but never knew until. So you don't.
Don't wear your religion on.
You don't advertise it.
You don't wear it on your sleeve. The only advertisement of your religion is how you live.
And yeah, I mean, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, well, but that is the only true advertising, whatever. And you don't really need to advertise. You need to live so that if somebody is interested in the energy that you have, if somebody thinks that it would be something that would help their life, they're welcome. If they're not interested, that's fine too.
By their deeds, you will know them.
Yeah. The whole thing is live the religion as the best you can. I mean, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We get angry. We do things that are stupid. We go toward the dark side as well as the light. But live as much of the light as you possibly can, and let that light shine out. Let it do whatever it will do. And if someone is interested, we're happy. And that's why we have all these young people. See, that's the other beautiful thing. Everybody says, how in the world do those Mormons, those LDS people, dare to send these young people, 18 years old, send them out into the world to teach about their church? They're going to screw the whole thing up and it'll all fall apart. Well, there we're back again to our discussion of before, and that is, if it's the truth, no matter how many times you paw it around and turn it upside down, beat it up, throw it over in the air, it's going to remain the same.
Yeah, we were talking about comparative religion.
Yeah, I took that too in college.
Yeah,
for fun.
And it is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, fantastic way of learning people and understanding how they think and how they believe.
Yes, and I think that probably has helped me understand some of the concepts in different religions. One thing that I was saying that when we got here, and I didn't know. I didn't know that your religion was such, because I saw iconography of different things. Like there is a Vietnamese Buddha out there, and so my instinct is New Age. Maybe this guy is like a collection of different, and this is what you guys. Do. And what you're telling me is that if there is something worthy from one religion, can you adopt it?
No, we don't just accept it. We're looking for it.
Okay.
We're out looking for the good parts of everybody else's religion.
Without conflict with your own?
No, there's no conflict.
Okay.
It's just like Buddhism. They don't worship that statue. Mm-hmm. That's a total misconception. We need to learn them about them. We need to learn their concepts, etc., etc. That's like, our young people that we send out as missionaries. We don't send them out to convert people or to talk them into joining our church. We send them out to teach about it, whether they are interested or not, or want to join or not. That's entirely up to them. You cannot convince someone about a spiritual matter and have it do any good. You might be able to talk them into it or brainwash them into it, but the problem with that is they are not the one who's making the choice there. And so it does no good. They'll go along with it, etc., etc., but the whole purpose of what we call the gospel, the teachings, is to help us to be better people and to actually live in a way that will make us have more energy, more light, more goodness, more kindness, more joy.
Okay.
And that's another one of the tenets of the gospel and the LDS religion is says very clearly in the Book of Mormon, man is that he might have joy. So the purpose of being here in life is to have joy. And the more joy you create, the better off you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, not at the expense of someone else. I mean, true joy. You know, joy that is pure and uplifting, good, kind.
To us that have been here with you for a few days, it is pretty obvious why you guys are together, and why you've stayed together. But tell me, why have you stayed together? Why do you think that you have? I don't want to say endured, as if it were something that you had to suffer, but what is the secret?
Love. Love is a secret.
Okay.
And by love, I don't mean, you know, so much the, you know, the la-di-da, Hollywood, you know, thrills and spills. Yes, that's a very important part. But the more important part of love is tolerance and kindness and being able to try to look at life from the other person's perspective. Lack of wanting to be, I guess it's best portrayed by the phrase gentleness, meekness, and love unfeigned.
Okay.
Like, you know, if Junko needs help in the kitchen, I go and help in the kitchen. You know, we don't have Junko's job and Mike's job. If I need help outside, Junko comes and helps outside. We're a team. We're a team approach, you know, to everything. You know, and that's wonderful because, you know, especially with children, because quite often, you know, one of the two of us won't be able to communicate the right way, and the other one will. You know, a child will accept things. That's why grandparents are such a vital part of child's life. You know, quite often the parents can't communicate something to them, but they'll go and sit down and have a talk with grandma. They can receive it from her or grandpa, you know, either one. So I think it's, you know, gentleness, meekness, and love unfeigned is the best phrase that I can see. You know, don't let the little things get under your skin ever, because it's not worth it. You know, the whole idea is, you know, we're trying to work together to build this energy, and if we can build the energy to a good level, you know, we'll be able to, and we do it together, we'll stay together, even after this life.
You know, for us coming from California, from Orange County and Los Angeles, it is difficult to find people like you, like you two.
Some might say it's a good thing, huh?
Well, yes, some may say that. We wouldn't ever even think about it. But the thing that I want to ask you is this typical? But within your group, are you a typical couple?
Well, there are a lot better couples than us.
Well, that's humble, I think.
No, seriously. I mean, there are some that have built their relationship to a level of they never have an unkind word or never have, you know, a disagreement even. That's the goal that I have, is, you know, to have that kind of relationship that you know, whatever she may do, it doesn't bother me, or whatever I may do, it doesn't bother her. You know, it just flows. And, you know, the level of love is such that it overcomes all the differences and all of the difficulties that we have to deal with. You know, the one thing, you know, about Junko that has made it very wonderful to stay together with her is she does not focus on the material. Whether we're dead broke or whether we have however much money in the bank makes no difference in how she acts. I mean, there have been times when we had very little money, if any at all, especially when we first got married. It doesn't change her attitude whatsoever.
Let me take that a step further with some details. For us, or at least for me, it seems like you guys have had it together forever. like the way that you are is been there forever, and you have had a lot of practice being who you are. In terms of you're having a hard time, when was the greatest challenge that you have to overcome?
The greatest challenge we've had to overcome was difficulties with my ex-wife with the children. There were
is it okay to ask you about this?
No, it's fine.
You're comfortable?
I have no problems at all. There were times when it was my turn for visitation, when she would hide the children or not allow them to come. She killed their pets, things like this. There was a lot of contention. One time she physically attacked Junko and that sort of thing. One time they came in the night and broke into our house. They decided they wanted the children to go to something that they had when it was my turn to have the children. Instead of planning, there was a lot of contention there, and that was difficult. Plus, she was also, she made false accusations that I hadn't paid child support, and a whole variety of things that we had to go through. That was difficult, but it never came between us. It never caused any problems between us. In fact, I think in a way, the adversity probably cemented us together even more. But interestingly, for me, the seed of our relationship was there from the first time that I met her.
Way back in
Japan.
70s,
way back in 1972. Talking about energy and revelation and things like this. When I first saw her, and when I first got to know her, I had a very strong feeling of this person is someone that you need to be around and be with. It was a very, very, not so much a romantic pull, even as it was a spiritual energy type of a pull there, and I never ever forgot her. I never ever forgot her. I always would think, I wonder what she's doing, things like this, for a long time. And then at my greatest point of need of relationship,
there she is.
The world turned and the universe came together. Of course, at the time, I was thinking and praying that where should I go from here? What should I do from here? Who should I find to spend my life with? Because didn't want to spend it alone. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for the kids. And suddenly the opportunity came.
The kids, in spite of the difficulties that you had with your wife afterwards, how did they get on with the Junko-san?
The children?
Yes.
Oh, they love her.
Okay.
Yeah, they love her. Especially my sons. They call her mother.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, without hesitation. She never, ever, ever, ever even hinted that she wanted them to do that. It came from them totally.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't think you see
my oldest daughter.
Yeah, get goosebumps.
Yeah, my oldest daughter, the same thing. In fact, my oldest daughter went with us to Japan, to this little village of Kawaba. And Junko was introducing her as, this is my oldest daughter.
Okay.
And Emmy, she has a Japanese name, but Emmy was, talking about, my mother. And people would look, Emmy's blonde, blue-eyed blonde. And people would look at her and say, yeah, I think I can see a resemblance.
Yeah, right.
And I think, honestly, there is to a degree.
And is that what we're...
Yes, that's what we're talking about, this energy thing.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
It is, okay, yeah.
And
tell us about that, but we're coming back to that, but tell us about the resemblance. Why?
I think it's the shape of their face. The shape of their face is similar, and some of their mannerisms are kind of similar, because Emmy spent quite a bit of time. She, when she was old enough, before she was old enough, when she was 14, she had some severe disagreements with her stepfather and her mother and they didn't want her anymore, so they sent her back to live with me. So she spent quite a bit of time with Junko and I, living together until she got big enough to go out on her own, et cetera, et cetera.
And I kind of contended that it was because of rapport and just imitating one another, but you have a different theory.
Yeah, there was some actual physical resemblance of facial features. In fact, Emmy, my oldest daughter, looks more like Junko than she does her biological mother.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. After the time spent with Junko.
Yeah, that if you're able to recognize a certain resemblance, it wouldn't have been when she was little.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, that would have been an afterwards thing.
We're talking about the greatest challenge that you had to overcome. Your ex-wife.
Persecution.
Making problems.
Yeah, persecution.
Around. How did that end, or has it?
Well, yeah, it ended, and the reason it ended is because the youngest son finally came to live with me, and so that ended all of the money going back and forth, child support and that sort of thing. And when it came down to it, she was really angry, and she said, he owes me more child support. She went to the court and said, you tell him he has to pay me. So the court researched it all and it came out that she owed me $650.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So now she.
Yeah, that was one of the shining moments of my life when she had to hand me that check.
Victory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just what should I say? Poetic justice.
Mm-hmm,
Poetic justice.
Yes.